So, Tracy, thank you so much for spending the time with me today to share a little bit about you and your journey. So, I just wanted to ask, like, whereabouts were you in your life before you came across Creatrix?
So I had been doing, I'd come across, or I knew that I had some issues, some deep-seated issues. I was basically living in a lot of fear, and I knew it wasn't right, and I knew there had to be a different way. So I had done a really long search. I'd been doing sort of work on myself for about 15, 17 years because
Yeah.
I was so scared, and I knew that that wasn't how I was supposed to be living. So I did lots and lots of different things. I saw counselors, I saw psychologists. I actually went and did a holistic counseling course. So I have a diploma in holistic counseling,
Yeah.
but it was all in order to help myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I still didn't get the help after 3 years. I still was like, yep, no, I don't want to do that because I still feel the same. So I did self-help books and everything you could think of. I have done it in that time.
Yeah.
And I still got to the same point of feeling like now I'm just educated about it. I still can't change it. I felt like I couldn't change it. And then when my children came along, and I had my two kids, I just went like I saw how I was playing out, how it was playing out in them, and I couldn't have that. So I just kept looking, and that's how I found Creatrix actually. I came across it via my life coach, which is hilarious. She happened to like a post from the Institute of Women International, and I grabbed hold of that and I went into the site and saw all the stuff. I went, oh my God, that's the missing piece. That's for me. Like I have to go and do this thing, and that's how it all started for me. Changed my life
Wow.
with Creatrix for that.
Wow.
And now
So
no longer have a life coach.
probably not great for her.
No. Although I really want her now to go and do Creatrix because that would be amazing for her clients.
Oh God, yeah. Like, so what was it that stood out to you once you went and had a look? Like, what was it that grabbed you and you could be like, this is what I need? What was that feeling that you were sort of getting or what you were reading or seeing?
It was the watching those women and them talking about the female factor and that how we
Mm.
do it differently, and that was the missing piece for me. I would have to say one of the biggest bugbears I have now around that personal development area is that consistency thing. Like that for me was the biggest struggle because everything I did said you had to consistently do these things and you'd get results. And I could never consistently do those things. And so I would go away thinking, oh my God, I must be really broken because everybody tells me to do that and I can't. I can't do it.
Mm.
And so I wasn't getting the results. And so I'd beat myself up even more about it. So I ended up walking away half the time feeling worse about myself. Not half the time. I would walk away feeling worse about myself. And so I did for a period give up on those things and go, well, this has to be it. And then, as I said, my kids came along and I just, again, it kicked in. I said, I was thinking, it can't be, it cannot be this. I cannot pass this on to them because nobody wants to live like that. I was in fear of judgment all the time. Like I couldn't do anything without feeling fear. And I just don't want that for my kids. And how can I show them to be different if I couldn't be that for them for myself? So I had to change. So that was for me. That was the thing, that female factor where it's like, no, we're cyclic and we can't do consistency, and that's okay. We can still have a breakthrough without that. Was like music to my ears.
Yes.
And so that was the missing link for me. Yeah, to do it the female
Yes.
way.
And that is just such an important thing. Like
Yeah,
knowing that even though you can't be consistent, doesn't mean you can't get the results you need and
exactly.
results you want.
You
Because,
work with
like, if
you,
that's
your
our,
brain.
yeah, exactly. We just work with your unique design. It's not that there's anything wrong with you and that you're doing the wrong things and you
Yeah,
don't deserve the healing. It's just
right.
we'll find the way that does work for you, the things you can do, the things you're really good at doing,
Ex-
actually.
Exactly, exactly. And the right issues as well, because that's the other thing. Although, I got really educated on that sort of business through doing the counseling. Like you learn to, again, though, they only really focus on the general out there kind of things, not good enough and undeserving and abandoned and all that, which is, they are big things. But what I love about Creatrix is how you apply it to you. It's in your words. That's the other thing. You can go, oh, yes, that is abandonment, but how you say it and how it lights you up is the most important thing.
Mm,
And the consistency, the fact that you can, well, that's the thing. Once you hit it on the right thing and you get the exact right words, you're there. Doesn't matter where you are. You can 100% go where you need to go when you get
yeah,
it right. So,
exactly. You don't need to be consistent because you've just done the thing you need to fix it. You don't
correct.
need to consistently do anything else.
No, that's it. Now I'm done. It's awesome.
So how does it feel to go through Creatrix, and like how would you describe the process, how you found it, and what you've noticed in yourself as being changes in your life or how you feel?
So I have to admit, I did struggle with it initially, and that's probably because of all the education that I've done, and I was trained a certain way. So I have to admit, to follow along on a story, and of course with my judgment thing, I was initially going, oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? I just couldn't believe I was doing it right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I'd gone through my first session, and I'd always labeled myself a perfectionist before. And I did my first session on perfectionism.
Hmm.
And what struck me was a couple of days later, I was having a conversation with someone about, my flaws because I was struggling at work, and so we were having these, mentoring sessions and all that sort of fun stuff. Not. And I went to say, I'm a perfectionist. And I actually couldn't finish the sentence. And I went, oh,
What am I now?
I don't know what to do with that. But I'm not that now. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, it's worked. Like I didn't have to do anything. It just happened. I couldn't actually label myself that anymore. And after that conversation, I went away and I went, that's a deep belief I've had forever that I'm a perfect, and I couldn't feel it in me anymore. And I was like, wow, this shit works. I need to go do more. So that's what I did. And I even trained in it. That's how much I love it. I just think it is the thing that is going to change women's worlds. So,
Yeah, and it does. And it, like
mm,
you said, it's immediate, and a lot of the time the immediate reaction and the results make us not notice it because
just
we're
do the
just so
same.
used to our normal living, and then we go into a situation and then we're like, oh my gosh, I really wouldn't have been like that before.
That's what I should have said. Yeah, so I got off track, but it's for me it was a really subtle journey. I never had that big aha thing, and like in the moment. What I had was this subtlety the whole way through where I'm like, can't label myself things, or the belief in myself. I mean, now that I'm on the other side, that for me is the biggest joy, that I am able to be who I am. No fear, no, like I'm brave, just doing things. And that's for me. So it was this subtle thing where before I could never give a workshop. There is no way I could have stood up in front of people and pretended I was an expert in anything. Even though I've done 20 years of the same job,
Mm,
I was an expert in that job. But
yeah.
there's no way I believed that, and to stand up in front of someone. And now that is not an issue for me. Like I'm doing that stuff, and that blows my mind because, all I did was go through a story, tell a story about some fantasy story about someone going through something else, and suddenly I'm able to step into who I really am and be that person with joy. And authority, and it's not a problem. I'm not even worried about what they're thinking about me. It's, I mean, it's just, there are no words, Steph. It
You
just
can feel
is
it. Like
amazing.
you can see it. Just
I'm
the
so much
ability to be
joy.
you. That's emotional freedom, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is. I've never felt this good in my life, honestly. Like, and I feel like now I was always a victim to the world. Things happened to me, and I had to just sort of roll with it. Whereas now I'm making my own world. And I mean, I never thought I would say words like that.
That's like guru stuff right there, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's what happens to people who go and do 20 years sitting on the mountain, in the position. I don't know. That's but that is truly how I feel. Like I just feel so in myself and able, there's the other word. I feel so able
Mm.
to do the things I want to do. And there's no more looking at why I can't. It's actually all the reasons why I want to. So I
Yeah.
will. There's no other thought. It's just I will.
And you can,
I'll
and you are
get there.
capable.
Yeah. And it's happening. So
Yes.
it's amazing.
You are just living as you.
I am.
Mm.
Yep. And it's amazing how that's affected the people I live with as well. So my whole household has gone, ooh, we all breathe now. My relationships with my husband and my children are so much stronger because we're all happier because I'm not this exhausted, frazzled, trying to put on 20 different masks, person. I'm just me in that moment, and there's still moments where that me in the moment may not have been the best I could possibly be. Well, it's always the best I can be in that moment, but I might be tired and whatever. But that just also gives me the freedom to apologize to my children when I do that. Like I, even when I do make mistakes, it's a joy to be able to know I'm showing my kids we all make mistakes and it's okay. I'll come and apologize to you and go, you know what? That wasn't nice for you and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mummy will try better. And the relief for them, I think that's part of it as well, that they're much more willing to cooperate because they see me for who I am and they know that it's okay that we all make mistakes. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a beautiful gift to give my
Yeah.
children.
That is so beautiful. Like the
Mm.
gift of what it actually is like to be living a human
A human
experience.
existence, exactly. Exactly.
So,
Totally
what would
cool.
you say to any other women that might have seen your story or heard about Creatrix? Like, what advice would you give them about what it might be like or what they should do if they're interested in doing something for themselves?
Oh my God, just please talk to Stephanie, talk to talk to a transformologist, if nothing else, because just to reach out and have that conversation, I think will change your mind. Because it is so different and is so in tune with who we are as women. I mean, if really when it comes down to it, if you look at all those issues that I've seen spoken about on websites and your testimonials and things, I can relate as a woman to every one of those, even though I have a totally different circumstance, different ages. I have kids, some don't. Doesn't matter. We all, as women, carry a lot of these issues through, and you can just have that conversation and just learn the reasons why, and just do Creatrix. Just I beg you, do Creatrix because this could be you. And honestly, I'm living my best life. I love my life, and before I couldn't say that. Like it was a struggle, and it was really hard. But it can be all those things those gurus tell you, all those things we read about out there, find your inner strengths and go inside. We have all the answers, and we're all going, what? How?
Yeah. How the hell
How?
do you
I don't
do
ever
that?
feel that no matter what I do. Creatrix will give it to you. It is the key to unlocking that. And so I would say to you, those things are real. We do have the answers within us, and we can be whoever we want to be and create the world around us. You could be like me, create your world. It's our joy. But you got to do Creatrix to get there because it's got to be for who we are as women, not for, the mainstream based on a blokey way of being consistent and just not compatible with what we do.
Exactly. That
Mm.
is so beautifully put. Like that was just incredibly wise, and it is exactly what it is just finding what works for us and knowing we know we can fix what's going on. We know we've got the things
Oh,
inside of us. We know that the real us is in there somewhere.
exactly.
But we just we with everything that we've got out there, it's like those things aren't the things we're looking for. They're not giving us
Yeah.
the results that we want. They're actually not designed to give us the results that we want. We're asking too much of those things.
Yes.
But it's just finding the thing that's right for us. And for women, that thing is Creatrix. And it gives all of those beautiful things that you just spoke about
Mm.
to us, but we give it to ourselves.
I was going to say, yes, we do it. Like
Mm,
it gives us the framework to allow us to go in and do that for ourselves. And I think that's also another beautiful gift as well, to that you come out going, you know what, I did that.
yes, yes. It's so empowering, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not like that person fixed me because I was broken. It's like I did
I
this.
fixed me.
Yes.
And I
I
think that's
found
for
who I
me
really was.
the biggest, exactly, because that's been such a driver of mine for so long. And now to be here, I mean, that's probably why I'm gushing as much as I am, because or just why I feel so passionate about it, because I spent such a long time, because there was a part of me that knew it could be, it had to be different.
Mm.
So now that I've got here, I'm like, I am enjoying every damn minute.
Yeah, because you've really earned it. You deserve it. And everyone
Yeah,
does. You don't
every
need to
woman
go
does.
through all this stuff. You do deserve to be happy, no matter what
Yep,
your reality is. Even if people have it worse than
yep,
you still deserve to feel as happy as you can feel.
exactly, exactly. I agree. Couldn't have said it better.
Thank you so much for sharing. I know there's going to be so many women that relate to what you've shared so openly and honestly about, and I really appreciate your time in sharing that with us.
No worries, Steph. Thank you. And yes, ladies, contact Steph. She's the best.
Thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome.